And we're live. Hey, everybody. You may have caught the tail end of that. We haven't advertised the live show ahead of time, so we'll advertise it right after we're done recording. You guys can watch this kind of in the archives on YouTube, and we'll get an audio version to you within the next few days on your favorite podcast service. I think we're on SoundCloud, or no, but we're definitely on iTunes. So welcome to Nerdrotic. I am John Reed, and joining me as usual is Dennis Pathalkis. How's it going, Dennis?
Doing all right. Doing good. Down here
How
in
excited
cloudy San Diego.
how excited are you that the CW is on break now on all these superhero shows? I'll miss them, but I'm happy to have a little reprieve from this 4 day a week madness.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that we've got a little bit of a break. I mean, it's not too much, a couple of weeks, but we start up again, and it's kind of weird that some of these start. I think the earliest one is on the 10th. The one starting like the 24th and 25th. So.
Yep. And you were saying that when they come back, Legend of Tomorrow has a new day. It's going to be on Tuesdays.
It's going to be on Tuesdays. I don't know if it's taking over Flash's time slot and Flash is moving to Thursday or what's going on. But yeah, they announced at the end of this last Legends of Tomorrow, last night's Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, we were discussing in the pre-show when we were getting our notes together that I was thinking maybe that they were rearranging the stuff so that it made sense in context of whatever crossover is going to be coming next. Maybe they want Flash to be the one that closes it out. I think this Invasion crossover actually suffered because it had Legends of Tomorrow close it out. So yeah, I'm wondering if maybe that's why they're doing this.
I don't know. I actually liked the Legends of Tomorrow closeout, to tell you the truth.
Really?
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. Normally,
Um,
these things, these crossover events, kind of fizzle at the end.
yep.
And quite honestly, I mean, the Arrow one was the strong point, but that was the 100th episode of Arrow, so
Yes.
they had a lot of heart to it, the
Hmm.
episode, and I think they carried it over quite well over into the Legends of Tomorrow. I think they did a good job. The fight scenes
So
were awesome.
I agree. I agree. The fight scenes were pretty rad. They're doing a good job of that on Legends of Tomorrow. In general, the fight scenes have been pretty cool. I actually wanted to touch on Invasion before we step into these last few episodes and what we think of these seasons so far. So I was a little sick when you guys were discussing it. So you did this podcast with Gary about the last part of Invasion,
Hmm.
and I felt like that there was a weakness to this crossover. You know when you have a crossover event in comic books and you've got the main like Civil War crossover, and then you have like the little side like Civil War X-Men, Civil War Frontline, you've got all the like
Yeah,
side
the
ones.
side comics.
I felt like this was just the number one for each side comic. Like the shows were almost too centered around their own casts and stories instead of just having it be one story over 4 nights with all these
Well,
characters jumbled up into one mix.
that's the way it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a wrap up of a lot of the main episodes. Like, so for Flash, you had the wrap up of Cisco being, pissy
Moody. Yeah.
at Barry because his brother's dead, and even though Barry didn't cause it, then you see Cisco screw something up in the timeline and cause the
Hmm.
alien invasion. So he realizes what happens. That ties
Right.
that little bow up in Flash. In Arrow, Arrow is always going, well, am I good for the city? Am I not good for the city? Blah blah blah, going back and forth, and then he gets trapped in this "It's a Wonderful Life" thing in the invasion from the
Right.
aliens, and finds out, he's actually doing a good job, uh,
Right.
and so that ties up that little loose end
No,
in
I,
Arrow.
I I agree that that's what they're trying. Like they executed what they were trying to do. I think that I personally would have preferred less of the individual show storylines seeping into it and just be like a mini event movie, right? Like I personally would have just preferred it to have been a crossover event that didn't have all that baggage coming into it.
But the thing is, it was very light on the storyline for the invasion stuff. There
Right.
really wasn't anything other than aliens have invaded.
Right. And
They're
that's what I
trying to
mean.
take
They should
over.
have gone deeper. I feel like they should have really told that story in a very, instead of trying to make these things so show specific. They're doing a four night event. If anyone's watching this, they're probably watching all the shows anyway. Like maybe not Supergirl, but the other ones. And I just feel like it was not what I wanted from an event. It was more
They
like
don't have the budget though. You're talking about doing a movie crossover essentially, like having a gigantic budget for a movie, and they don't have that. I mean, I knew what they were getting into. I knew where they were going to go with it. That it was going to be very light, but it brought people like Gary, who's not watching the show. He even said after watching the invasion stuff, he's actually going to start watching now.
right. No, that's true. I don't
So I
know.
mean,
I would have preferred more of like a it not I don't even need it to be a big budget. It didn't need to be a big budget. I'm just saying it needed to be. I would have preferred one cohesive storyline across four shows for 1 week, leaving the rest of the plot threads from the other shows out of it, just for like a big crossover. You know, like when you get Civil War, yeah, you've got some of the character stuff that's built to a certain point in the other books, but the Civil War like. Crossover is in and of itself one story, and then everyone else's offshoots are kind of in. And I just would have preferred it to be a little less encumbered by what had come before, and just been like a fun 4 episode team up story. You know, personally.
I was happy with it. I mean, yeah, I know what you're getting at, and I'm telling you, it's the budget. The budget didn't allow for them to do this big, huge alien invasion superhero mashup kind of thing. They had to work within their constraints
Yeah.
and job of actually tying up their loose ends so they can move on.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I was getting tired of the same old on a lot of the episodes.
God, Arrow was driving me crazy there for a while. Actually,
Yeah.
that's a good. So let's discuss a little bit how we feel about where we are in each show. In general, now that we've got all these mid-season finales, I guess we should start with Flash because it's the first one of the week. So with
Well,
Flash, it
actually,
left it.
Supergirl.
Oh yeah, well, Supergirl, the invasion was the last episode, right?
Yeah, it was the last episode for her. There was no new episode this week, and they
So
pretty
how did
much
you
wrapped
feel
up.
about this season?
I kind of like it. I mean, they wrapped up her storylines. Finally got Alex a girlfriend, you know, all that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I don't know. I want to see what happens with Monel. I kind of have a feeling he's going to die at some point.
Yeah, or
Um,
turn evil, one or the other.
I think he's going to die. To tell you the truth, he can't stick around too long. He's too likable of a character to go evil now at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah, that's true.
So he's got to die.
That's true. Yeah,
Unfortunately, you
yeah,
know,
no,
they're
that
going
would
to keep.
make sense.
Yeah, they're going to keep Jimmy around. So
Yeah, Guardian. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it was also interesting because there were what 3 or 4 episodes since Jimmy decides to become Guardian, and Wayne helps him, starts helping him with all that. And I don't know if I'm sad or happy about the fact that it didn't really go anywhere yet. Like it really just kind of started off and then left. You know, like Guardian wasn't even in the crossover event.
Yeah,
Like,
he wasn't in the
um,
crossover. They left it in her universe,
yeah,
and that's where it should stay because
yes,
uh yeah, I can you imagine the geekiness of Cisco, Felicity, and Win all together in the same
and
room?
Mr. Terrific and
And Mr. Terrific.
yeah.
No, yeah, it's just way too much geekiness.
Mhm.
It's enough for
And Caitlin too. Yeah, no, totally, totally. It
yeah.
would have been like a. They would be actually kind of funny to have an episode, like a crossover episode that's just about them, and like the superheroes are like fighting off in their own. You don't even see them in the episode much. You just hear them checking in, and you have like mission control and like their story. That would be a kind of a fun episode to have.
Yeah, it would be just doing it from their perspective.
Yeah, like that Buffy episode, the Zeppo episode, where Xander has like this crazy day, even though like these huge other things are happening all around him,
Yeah,
and
it's also
nobody
called
knows.
it's the what is it? Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's Data's Day.
Yes,
It's the
exactly.
same. It's every episode, every TV show has one of these where they just kind of show the mundaneness.
Hmm.
Babylon 5 did one where they did the point of view of the janitors on Babylon 5.
Yes, yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I look, I love all of those. All those episodes we just named are some of my favorite episodes of those shows. So I think it would be fun to have that where you get all the people we just named in one mission control center trying to lead their team
I would
on
even
some
like it
adventure.
better if they just had the periphery people that aren't even involved in any of this, that don't suspect anything.
Yeah,
Have an episode of just these people
Joe's
disappearing
partner.
and coming
Yeah,
back. And
yeah,
they're just like,
totally.
where the hell did you go?
Hmm. Yeah, that's good. These are some good ideas. So Supergirl, look, I came in with really low expectations. You were much higher on the show than I was. I think you brought me around to your mindset in it all. Really, like I think through our
I told you.
discussions, yeah, I don't know if I would have come around without us talking every week about this stuff, or most weeks about this stuff. Um, just because it's not really the show itself, the tone of the show isn't something that I usually enjoy. But when we're digging into this stuff, I've actually come to it's one of the highlights of my week is watching Supergirl now, which is so crazy. Like I
Yeah,
had
it's
never thought.
fun. I mean, it's a fun show. Hopefully Flash regains that funness again, because now that Cisco's not brooding anymore.
Yeah,
Although with Caitlin, who
yeah,
knows? We may
yeah.
not have that.
Uh, and I think we're going to get Cisco dropping into that a little bit. I see something bad coming for Joe on the horizon. I think he's in too much of a good place right now. I feel like maybe something having to do with Wally. I don't know what it'll be, but I feel like Joe's life has to come crashing down a little bit at some point.
Well, yeah, it's got to do with HR. This version of HR, there's still something wrong with him. I don't know what it is, but there's something. The other shoe has not dropped yet with this
Yeah,
HR.
it's so funny because Gary is actually like you turned me around on Supergirl. Gary started turning me around on HR. I hated this version of Wells for
Oh,
so
I did
long,
too. Yeah,
and this last week I was actually like, okay, I see where they're going with the character now a little bit. Like he's the goofy guy. He's going to help Wally out and be. He's a little bit of an antagonist within the group. He's funny. They're writing him funnier than they did in the first few episodes.
yeah. They didn't know where they were going with him, I think, and they need to find some footing, and they finally found it, and they're
Yeah,
running with it now.
yeah. So HR's been hopefully hopefully there's there, but at least I'm enjoying the character at this point because I really missed Wells, Earth 2 Wells,
Hmm.
when he left. Like I thought he was the best version of that character and the best use of that actor. um so what else? So in oh yeah, yeah. So in the at the end of Flash, we got a little teaser where Barry goes into the future a little bit. So where do you think that's going to lead us to? The first episode in January when they come back.
Well, of course, Barry's going to be brooding about that, about her, about Iris. Okay, in case you guys haven't known, I mean, we talk about spoilers all the time. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, too bad. We've got spoilers, and don't listen to the show
These are
otherwise.
spoiler-filled discussions. We
Yes.
assume you've watched them.
Um, so Barry jumped ahead 5 months into the future, saw Iris get killed by Savitar, and now he's, I think at the beginning of the when we come back in January, he's going to be brooding about how to stop it, even though Jay
Right.
Garrick has told him it's one of many possible futures. It may not
Do you
happen.
do you think he's going to try to keep it a secret to not upset everyone? The typical like, oh, I'm not going to
Yeah,
tell anybody, and then they're going to find out
he's
later.
and he's horrible at keeping secrets. So of course, the first episode that comes back, he's going to try and keep it a secret. About near the end of the episode, he's kind of finally revealed to one person, and they're going to say, "Well, you should tell everybody." And then the next episode, they're going to tell everybody.
Yeah.
That's how it goes on
Meanwhile, what
television.
is it? What is it about Draco Malfoy and the Philosopher's Stone? Like in every movie or TV show this guy's in, he's got to be dealing with the Philosopher's Stone in some way. Um, yeah, I just thought it was a weird little crossover between the Harry Potter universe and CW.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I'm not a Harry Potter fan,
I
so I
know.
I don't know that part
So
of
where
it.
do you think they're going with this whole Julian alchemy Savitar thing? This
Well,
is
now
very
that the
ambiguous.
Philosopher's Stone is in the Speed Force, supposedly Julian is free now of Savitar's grasp, but I don't know if that's actually going to be true or not.
Yeah, I mean, are we buying it? I'm buying it that alchemy and Julian are not the same entity, right? Like I'm
Oh
buying
yeah.
it that Julian's a good, decent guy, and he's just been taken over by this evil force.
Well, he's still an asshole. I mean,
A bit.
yeah,
They've accepted him into the group now, though. I mean, he was at Christmas.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they have. I mean, he got Barry his job back,
True.
so you know.
Here's my thing about the Flash right now. The Flash is, in my opinion, the best of all of these shows, but it's had the weakest. Maybe not the weakest. It's right for me. It's fallen to right above Arrow for this particular half season. Like it's had some high points, but for the most part, they've fucked with so many of the characters that I love. Wells is different. Cisco's been broody. Caitlin's turning evil, and I know that it's on purpose. It's like breaking the team apart to then bring it back together. I understand the plot devices they're using here,
Yeah.
but it's making the show a little less enjoyable, quite honestly.
Yeah, I think what they do is they were playing with it to see where they could, break up the dynamic. But I don't think they had this team together for long enough to actually start doing this kind of breakup, and that's
Yep.
what's going to piss off a lot. I think it already has pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah, this is season 5, season 6 type stuff they're doing here.
Yeah, and I mean, like
So
you already see this happening on Arrow, where the team breaks up every other month. So
yep, that's a good transition. So I feel like there's a lot to talk about with Arrow. For like how much I don't like Arrow right now, we've got Laurel's return. We've got the death of Felicity's boyfriend. We've got Mr. Terrific's breakup. We've got Diggle, who was just arrested. We've got the mystery of Prometheus. We've got
I
a
actually
lot
have a
of stuff.
theory
Okay, so what on the Prometheus?
on Prometheus.
Okay, what's your theory?
I think Prometheus may actually be Mr. Terrific's husband.
Oh, that was
Dun, dun,
not on my
dun.
radar. Why are you thinking this?
Because he looks, they're showing the picture of the baby, and that he's supposed to be about 30-ish,
Mm-hmm.
which is Mr. Terrific's husband's age, around there.
Right.
And even though he fought Prometheus didn't kill him. Prometheus kills anybody they run into contact with.
Right.
So
Interesting. So, but Prometheus attacked Mr. Terrific while his
yeah,
husband
oh,
was
I know.
there.
I think that was actually.
So, what do you think that is?
I think that was
Artemis?
Ellen. Artemis dressed up as
Yeah, yeah,
Prometheus.
yeah. Interesting. So they're pulling Arsenal and Ollie from season 2, season 3.
Yeah,
Um,
they're using
Interesting.
tricks from Arrow's own playbook.
Really interesting. I don't hate that theory because the thing that bothered me about this reveal on who, and I don't even know how much I buy it even at this point, but this reveal of who Prometheus is, like the son of this guy that Ollie killed, right? Like, I don't, the reveal doesn't hit hard, right? Because usually when there's this big mystery behind a villain, it's somebody you already know or someone they introduce, right? So they introduced in this season, like the reporter. Um,
It
you've
was a
got,
soap opera reveal, is what it was.
yeah,
It was like,
and this is
it's
just like
the
random.
brother's son of my roommate's former cousin's
Yeah,
mistress's dog's puppy.
yeah, it's really annoying. Like, so I think a lot of people were thinking like, oh, maybe it's Rory, maybe it's Felicity, and I mean not Felicity, maybe it's Laurel, and she's come back as evil and in this suit. Like so I think there were a lot of it's Oliver's dad. There are lots of theories out there, but I really do. Your theory is probably the most sound of all of them, and it explains a lot about Mr. Terrific's relationship with his husband and why maybe this has changed a lot of things for them.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think of the death of this guy, of Felicity's boyfriend, who we barely met this whole season?
Saw it coming from a mile away. I mean, I
Yeah.
knew Prometheus was going to dress him up as Prometheus and have Ollie kill him. I actually thought that was him on the floor when we first walked in.
Yeah.
I thought that was him, and because I didn't honestly remember what his face looked like. It was a really forgettable face.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he started going further and further in, and it was matching all the bodies that he had taken down, which he killed a shitload of people. He was in
Yeah.
the double digits there.
So that's what I wanted to do. So we've been talking all season about Oliver killing people again, and the season has dealt with it, and we've been like, look, heroes just don't kill random. Like Oliver's out there just murdering people with arrows,
Yeah.
like lackeys, like anybody, right? Like he's just dropping people.
He killed an
Um,
entire city, an underground city full of people, pretty much, too.
right,
Plus, he also
right.
killed a couple of million people with that nuke that he sent out.
There's a lot that
Yeah,
he's
he's
done,
got a lot of death on his hands.
and I really thought that Felicity's reaction was interesting, right? Because Oliver comes back, he tells them what happened, and Felicity's like, this is Prometheus, it's not you, blah, blah, blah. But, like, isn't the whole lesson, like, the lesson isn't that everyone around Oliver dies. The lesson is Oliver needs to be more, at least more discerning as to who he kills. Like, if he's going to shoot dead somebody, he should probably verify that it's not a hostage, right? Like,
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing is he needs to learn not to kill at this point, that he needs to actually just capture people and let the justice system take its course. Otherwise, you
right.
might as well just
Especially
be
if you're
shown
the
a victim.
mayor.
Yeah, especially if you're
Right.
the mayor. Yeah.
Like you can actually reform the justice system in your city to work for you as a vigilante. Like he's got all pieces working for him. He shouldn't just be like murdering like it's just crazy, right? Like so the it just seems the lesson that he's taking from this isn't the right lesson at this point.
No,
Um
it's not. I mean, it's like I said, CW show. Actually, what I thought was going to happen when he came back in and told Felicity is instead of saying, you need to all leave and get away from me because you're going to get hurt, I thought it was going to be him saying, you know what, I can't do this anymore.
yeah, me too.
I thought he was going to step away from it and basically just, like Spider-Man no more kind of thing.
Right. Yeah,
And
no, I agree.
instead, he's pushing everyone away again. And so what
Yeah, it's over
happens
and
is
over.
we have Felicity at home crying. We've got Artemis is over to the bad side, of course. Wild Dog, something happened to him, right? Uh,
I forget. I try to ignore him as much as possible.
yeah, Diggle got caught again.
Hmm.
And nothing happened to
Rory's cool
Rory.
though. Yeah, Rory's fine.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, honestly, Rory doesn't need anybody. He's Ragman, for God's sakes.
Right.
He's pretty much got godlike powers, and they treat him, as second fiddle.
Right, which is so weird. So here's something that's interesting though, because what I do think this show is doing or pointing
Oh,
in a
and
good direction on,
sorry, and Mr. Terrific is, home crying as well, like
yeah, yeah.
Felicity. So
So he's still okay, but he's just going through some personal stuff.
yeah.
Here's where I think the show is heading in a good direction. When I think of what I would want from an Arrow or a Green Arrow TV show, it would be Oliver and Black Canary fighting crime together, right? Like that's kind of what what I like from the comics. And if Laurel is indeed back and not just a figment of his imagination, maybe she was never. We don't know what this is yet. But if she's there and he's pushed everyone else away, we very well could get the first scene of the return in January being them out like taking down some street gang. Like I could really just see that being them two fighting crime together.
Well, he still has a whole Prometheus thing going on. He did that. This is the one show that didn't have any kind of. Well, I take that back. It was this and
Flash,
Legends of Tomorrow that didn't have any closure as to what was happening in their main stories.
right?
So I don't know. I'm kind of tired of the storyline. I wish they had ended the Prometheus thing during the mid-season finale and gone on with something else. But
Yeah, no, I think Prometheus is going till the end of this season. It's like
unfortunately,
Savitar; those are both going to be around all season. Yeah, those are
I
the
don't
big
think
bads.
Savitar's going to
So,
the end.
you think there's someone else above Savitar?
There might be something else in between, and I think the Savitar thing they're going to come in, dovetail it in for the May sweeps for the end.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know if they'll go. I don't know if every episode will be about Savitar or
Oh no,
Prometheus, but I
no,
think that they're going to be around until the finale next
yeah, I
next
don't
year.
think they're going to retouch on the Savitar. I mean, sure, Barry's going to brood about this whole thing, through the rest of the season until the season finale. But yeah, we're not going to touch back on Savitar for a while yet. It's going to be other things that are coming in.
And we're going to get another crossover, and I think that the crossover we're going to get is going to be having to do with the
It's a
Legion.
musical.
The Legion. Oh, they're doing a musical. I wonder if they're also doing like another. Like, I feel like they're going to do one musical episode crossover, but I feel like it's going to either be part of or be separate from another week long thing like they're doing
Possibly.
now, um, near the end of the season. Just because I feel like that's kind of how they set up these shows, is to have a crossover every half season.
You know, I'm actually kind of wondering now. I'm wondering with what happened in Legends of Tomorrow, if that's what caused Laurel to be alive now in Arrow. If she's an aberration.
Maybe, maybe. I mean, I think that that's very possible, right? Either that, or I mean, they're doing a Figment with Snart, right? So let's talk about Legends of Tomorrow a little bit. Um, we got the return of Captain Cold, but only in the head of Mick.
Yeah, I see. I don't know. The whole thing with I don't think Captain Cold died during that whole thing.
Right.
He was in the next what is the null spot that time doesn't exist
Yes.
when that exploded.
Hmm.
So I think he survived that. Of course, he
I
did.
think so too.
Yeah, he's coming back as
Yeah.
a member of Legion of Doom. We already know this. Uh,
Right.
and so I don't know if it's just the Legion of Doom fucking with Mick or what's going on. To tell you the
Right.
truth,
No, I think that right now it's in his head, and we're gonna find, and there's gonna be he'll be in his head for a while, and then there'll be a moment where Mick's gonna think it's in his head, but really it's him. Um, I think that that's where they're heading with this, is that kind of plot device.
possibly, yeah.
But I think that where I was going with the Legends is I think that the Legion of Doom is going to be the catalyst for the next week-long crossover. I think that that's what's going to bring. They're going to need to bring in all the other people to fight the Legion of Doom at
Well,
some
yeah,
point.
because they're bringing in the Spear of Destiny that can
Right. So,
change all
what
of
is the
reality.
Spear of Destiny? Okay.
Um,
So, explain. Is this something from the comics? You know me and my DC
the Spear of
lore.
Destiny, it's one of those things that's always out there. It's a mythical lore of the spear uh, the spear that pierced the side of Jesus Christ,
Right.
and
Right.
supposedly whoever wields it is invincible. There's all kinds of different powers that have been associated with it. And in this one, the Spear of Destiny is basically you can remake reality into your own vision, kind of like the Infinity Gauntlet, if you will.
Right. Right. Do they need any other pieces to make this thing work, or do they just need to find the
No,
spear
they
and they're
just need
good
the
to go?
spear. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they're going to be on the hunt for the spear. Something's going to happen, and it's going to bring everyone together for another crossover. I just feel like the Legion of Doom is there to literally be a bridge for. It's all the villains from all the other shows, right? Like, so
Yeah.
we got the return of Malcolm Merlin,
Yep.
and like and then at the end of the episode we got Rip back. So let's
Without
start
his
with.
British accent.
Yeah, like he's a director in Hollywood in the '60s. He's making a fake Legends of Tomorrow movie or TV show. It's
He's
pretty
making a
funny,
Rip Hunter movie.
a Rip Hunter movie. So, um, where do you think Rip's going to fit back into this team? Like, it just seems like he's unnecessary at this point.
Um, he is unnecessary, so I think he's just going to be a guest shot. Tell you the truth, and
Wait, so was I right? Is he no longer on this show? Are you agreeing with me finally?
um, he's going to come back,
You
and
keep insisting that, but you are wrong.
he is. He's going to come back, and what's going to end up happening is he's going to realize that, God, what's her name? White Canary. I can't remember
Sarah.
her. Sarah. Thank you. Um, she's actually been a better leader than he is,
Right.
and
Much.
he's just going to say, you know what? Drop me off in this time with my wife and child,
Oh, that'll
and
be a nice ending to that story.
yeah, and then he'll go off and do whatever he's going to do. Because Rip Hunter is actually in the comics. He's,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
so having this actor sign up for this kind of character in the comics, it's not going to be a one and done and say, hey, okay, I'm just going to come in for a season. It's not going to be an Anthony Hopkins.
Right.
It's Westworld. I'm just going to do season one, get myself killed off, and then
Yeah.
vaya con Dios.
Spoiler alert. Jeez.
I told you we're full of spoilers. So
For
watch
these
this show at
shows.
your own risk.
So okay, so what did you think of this finale of Legends of Tomorrow? Just straight up.
I liked it. I mean, the part of, I mean, Sarah kicking Merlin's ass. I mean, she kicked his ass up one side
Yep.
and down the other. And the whole thing about, he goes, I'm going to teach you a few lessons. And she goes, those who can't teach. And she just jumped across
Yeah.
the table and kicked his ass. And I was like,
Those who can't do teach. Yeah, that was
yeah.
awesome. I love Sarah. I did not like her on Arrow, but she's so good on Legends of Tomorrow. The only character I'm really not digging is Vixen at this point. She really is bland as
I like
hell.
Vixen. I still don't like Dr. Haywood. Dr. Haywood's just
Oh, I like
bothering the
Haywood.
shit out of me. I don't know what it is.
He's so funny.
He's
I love how
not.
he bros down with the Atom. It's so
That's
funny.
what I'm talking about. This whole thing of the whole sibling rivalry thing, they were talking about. It's pissing me off, honestly.
That's so
Um,
funny. I like them.
and I like
That
Vixen. I just wish they gave her a little bit more than, oh, you're going to sit here and watch Mick drink.
right. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't feel like they have enough for her to do to warrant her being a main character on the show. But second, she's also really dry. Like there's no humor to her. There's nothing that
Well, she's supposed to be a
the
soldier. That's the whole thing. She's
yeah.
from World War II kind of thing. And they're going to drop her back off in her own time.
Hopefully soon.
And, well, that's why you're going to have Jonah Hex is supposed to be a member of the cast at some point in time.
Yeah, it's so crazy that they didn't just bring him in when he was on the show already.
Well, yeah, we have to have something's going to happen with Rip. I think Rip might actually stay in the Old West. Maybe now I'm thinking about it.
That would be cool.
I think because Rip had an affinity for the Old West. And remember, that's his
Mm-hmm.
greatest defeat is that whole town that died because of him.
Yep.
So I think they go back, drop him off, let him fix that, and then he stays there.
That'd be pretty awesome. I would like that. That's a good story. I hope that they tell that. I hope they do the good stuff because, frankly, yeah, no. Look, so where I am at right now is I'm really, really digging Supergirl. I wasn't expecting to, but it's been pretty strong. And Legends has been
Would you
fun,
say it
but
was super?
it was super. It was relatively super, I would say. Um, and
Sorry,
then
I had to throw that in there.
Legends has been fun, but
Would
nothing.
you say it
You
was
know,
legendary? I'm
nah,
sorry.
I wouldn't go so
Okay,
far
I'm
as
gonna leave that one alone. I'll stop now.
the Flash. The Flash has probably seen the biggest decline in quality for me, and then Arrow is just like they've got to get out of these story patterns that they've gotten themselves into. It's just the same. I can't deal with this repetitive bullshit that they're pulling on Arrow
Mm-hmm.
constantly. It's like I would say that Arrow has maybe the strongest. Well, no, Legends is the strongest cast, but Arrow's got a pretty strong cast, and I feel like the story just isn't doing these characters justice at this point. So I'm hoping. Huh.
I think what they need to do, yeah, they don't have just, yeah. I got that one. I caught that.
I
Um,
didn't even mean that, and I realized what I had said afterwards.
I think what they need to do is they need to have more fun with this stuff
Yes.
and just really start having some fun. You got time travel for God's sakes. Have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Agreed.
you got speedsters. You've got 3 speedsters. Have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I take that back. 2 speedsters now because Jay went back, to his Earth. So, yeah, you have
We've
2
got Wally,
speedsters.
you've got Barry, and you've got Thawne.
Well, Thon's not. He's still on Legends right now.
Yeah.
He hasn't come back yet. Yeah.
But yeah. Just kill Wild Dog. Make Ragman like a bigger part of the show so that not all your characters die all the time. And
Come on. I like the one thing I think my favorite scene out of Arrow was when they're sitting there and Wild Dog and Rory are sitting together and they're talking about alternate universe. He goes, "Come on, you think I could date her in an alternate that I'm dating her in an alternate universe? No, wouldn't happen. Wouldn't happen. Why not?" And then Thea, of course, speaks up and says, because you're not my type.
Yeah.
Because she could overhear everything that was going on, even though she's halfway across the room.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's funny because you and I don't like Speedy is one of my favorite characters. I love that actress. You hate the lisp.
Oh yeah.
But you like Jax, who has a way worse speech. Like he says W's instead of L's. Like he's got a way weirder way of speaking than Thea.
Yeah, but the thing
And you're
is, he doesn't
totally
speak
fine
that
with
often.
it. It's true.
That's the whole
It's
thing.
true.
He's either yelling something like, "Hey, hey, Gray, are you okay,
Mhm.
Gray?" That's it. Whereas Thea decides she wants to say the Gettysburg Address, or that she wants to recite the Bible, or something like that. And I'm just getting to the point where I'm like, "Hon, you need, I don't know, put like a clothespin on your tongue or something like that. Tape it to your mouth so you can actually talk a little bit better. See a speech therapist, get some surgery. I don't know what."
Oh, I think it's endearing. I think she's just perfect the way she is.
It's annoying.
So, okay, so how do you feel about all these shows where we are at this mid-season
Um,
point?
I'm having a lot of fun with Supergirl, same as you. And again, like I was getting back to, they have the most fun. You can tell the cast has a lot of fun. The story writers are just having tons of fun. And we're going to get Mr. Mitchell Pitalik, however you say it, the fifth
Sure.
dimensional imp.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's coming in.
Prankster?
The prankster, yes. Another Superman villain. It's going to come in on Supergirl. They haven't cast him as of yet, which is going to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be fun. And so far, all the characters they've had, all the villains they've brought in, all the Superman villains have been just fun.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, if they could just inject a lot more of that carefree kind of attitude into the rest of the three shows that are on, I think we'd have a really good lineup of shows.
Yeah. Where are you on Legends? Yeah, where are you on
For
Legends?
me right now, it's Supergirl, Flash, Legends, Arrow.
So, why do you have Flash above Legends at this point? Just
Um,
because you think it will be better, or do you actually think it was better this season?
I think it was better this season. I like the way it started off. That we only had Flashpoint for one episode. The only thing that was killing it for me, excuse me, was Caitlin and Cisco. That was the only thing that was killing it for me. And
Right. So,
other than
two of the
that,
three core members of the team.
yeah. I mean, once Cisco, got off pulled that stick out of his ass that he had in there.
Well, his
Um,
brother did die because of Barry.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
he didn't die because of Barry. He died in an auto accident. Okay,
right.
yeah. So if
That's true.
Barry, and we don't know if Barry's actually the cause of all this stuff that's happening, because I think Thawne has changed something.
Right.
Because remember, we still have that Spear of Destiny thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure this is all going to play into it, and everything's going to go back to normal by the end of everything.
Yeah.
Our normal that we've, you know,
Not the new
come to,
normal. The old
not the
normal.
new normal, it's the old normal.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I probably. It's hard for me to put Flash, just because Flash, I loved the first two seasons so much that it's hard for me to put it above Legends, just because Legends, I didn't love the first season of Legends, and I think that it's gotten so much better. And Flash has gotten not better, and whatever the opposite of better is, and without saying that it's gotten worse. Um,
I
you
think for
know,
me, it's Haywood. Haywood actually brings down Legends
oh,
so much for me
jeez.
that I mean, I literally cringe every time I see him on screen.
So weird. He's so good. I love Haywood.
Mm-mm.
Team Haywood.
Oh God.
um, so yeah, any final thoughts before we sign off for the evening?
Um,
Team Haywood.
no, I've pretty much said everything I'm going to say about everything. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to give you my tagline, which is "Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America."
And we will see you in January. Awesome, 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 awesome. Bye.
Well, we're going to see you before that. I mean,
Well, yeah. But for this, we'll see you in January. Bye bye.
yes. See ya.